When you think of the military, images of gunfire, bombs, death, and injustice likely come to mind. Things like targeting poor populations for recruitment and don't ask, don't tell come to mind. One of the last things you may think of is social justice, or even an appetite for its consideration. As a soldier and a warrior, I'm here to tell you that I am required to advance social justice issues by what the Army refers to as the warrior ethos. By the end of the night, I hope to show you that you too can live the warrior ethos and incorporate it into your own life. The warrior ethos states, I will always place the mission first. I will never accept defeat. I will never quit. And I will never leave a fallen comrade. Having served for the past 7 years, both here at home and abroad in a combat zone, I can tell you firsthand that although the warrior ethos is often focused on the mission to destroy, that is only one aspect of the warrior ethos. The other aspect is social justice, ensuring that the American military can overcome the looming climate crisis, racial and gender inequities, and advance civil considerations during warfare. The warrior ethos can serve you in the same way, pushing you to advance social justice in your own spheres of influence. As a result of the military's highly rigid structure, obedience to authority, and emphasis on tradition, social justice initiatives are slow to come by. However, this tradition and authority emphasizes relationships between peers and can be bolstered by the precepts of social justice. As soldiers and warriors, we are called to advance social justice issues. By sharing my story and imploring you to work with me, I hope to show that we can transform America to see what we want it to be. A place where climate change is addressed, racial and gender inequity is abolished, and inequality is unacceptable. The warrior ethos is a tool which can be used in our lives to advance social justice. One of the most pressing issues of our time is climate change. Climate change represents an existential threat to all of us. However, in military operations, weather, especially unpredictable weather, can make or break a mission. When I was studying Joint Special Operations Planning, we were given a scenario in Western Africa. It was called Large-Scale Combat Operations, or LSCO, and it's not unlike what we're seeing in Ukraine. During planning, the logistical considerations we kept returning to were things associated with climate change. Things like internal waterway salinization causing issues with water resupply, coastal flooding increasing waterborne diseases, and internal waterway flooding already underdeveloped roads. Also, climate change is one of the most unpredictable variables. And if there's one thing I know logisticians hate, it's uncertainty. The ability to move large quantities of arms, ammunition, material, and equipment long distances relatively quickly is one of the hallmarks of American military strength. For example, we see Russia running out of fuel right across their border, but the US military has been able to project their strength in conflicts across the globe for the last 20 plus years. If we allow climate change-related sea level rise to continue, we will lose this market advantage. We cannot accept that our logistics will be defeated by climate change, nor should we accept that as those living the warrior ethos, we would allow others to suffer because of our inaction. The warrior ethos demands that we never accept defeat. We cannot be defeated by climate change. Climate change adds complexity to an already difficult situation when it comes to military decision-making. This means that we need the best and the brightest to fill the ranks of the military decision-makers. The warrior ethos states, I will always place the mission first and I will never leave a fallen comrade. This is where social justice comes in. Racial and gender equity in the military Racial and gender equity in the military provides more seats at the table for more diverse opinions and more experiences. It provides the ability as an early warning system for bad decisions, which are the result of this military decision-making process, which seeks to meet the commander's intent. As such, racial and gender equity initiatives within the military are a must. The warrior ethos serves in your life too. By pulling up your fallen comrades and really listening to them, you too can live the warrior ethos and incorporate their views and opinions into your own life instead of leaning on your own understanding. Currently, only about 15% of the Army is female. Minorities make up much of the lower rank population. However, when it comes to generals and officers in general, they make up a tiny proportion. The Army is not the only institution which suffers from these racially skewed statistics. And the Army has done something about it. Recently, the Army has removed indications of race and gender and even pictures from promotion packets. The warrior ethos is embodied by the Army's decisions to do these things because it means that they're not leaving fallen comrades behind. When I joined the military, I thought that my job was going to be based on my skills and abilities. I knew that as an intelligence professional, I needed experience, education, and competence. I thought I was experienced and educated. I had been to basic training, advanced individual training, and even the Defense Language Institute. But I had this mentor. We'll call him Staff Sergeant White. Staff Sergeant White had every school the Army offered for a human intelligence professional. He had been to schools that taught advanced interrogation techniques, information operations, working with analysts, and even was a qualified senior interrogator. He also had real-world experience, having been deployed 4 times, twice with special operations. He had hundreds of interrogations and thousands of intelligence reports. In short, this was a man who had everything that I wanted and more. He was effective and conscientious of the soldiers and the mission. This was a man that I would trust with my life and the lives of my fellow soldiers. After only 3 months at this unit, this new unit, I was approached by my senior officer in charge of intelligence collection, and he offered me a letter of recommendation for the warrant officer program, basically a promotion. When I excitedly returned and told Staff Sergeant White about this, he became somber. And he told me that he had requested the same letter multiple times only to be turned away. What was it that my overly qualified mentor lacked where he was turned away over and over again? The only thing that I could see was that it was because he was an African American. The military intelligence career field is majority white. Compared to the 22% of the overall Army, which is African American, only 11% of the military intelligence career field is African American. This apparent institutional racism not only deprived a great soldier of their ability to advance their career, but it also deprived the Army of their ability to avail themselves of that soldier's competence and experience. But as I said, the Army has taken strides forward in this respect by removing these indicators of race, gender, and pictures from promotion packets. By acknowledging past mistakes and moving forward, we can live the warrior ethos and advance racial and gender equity within the military. Racial and gender equity within our own ranks are noble goals. However, in much the same way that racial and gender discrepancies exist within our ranks, they exist in the ranks of those who suffer from war. Women, people with disabilities, marginalized communities, and other vulnerable populations are disproportionately affected by war. These warrior ethos states, "I will never leave a fallen comrade." These people are our comrades as fellow humans, and they should not be left behind. I saw firsthand the struggles that people went through during war, and it changed my perspective not only on the mission, but it changed me. When I deployed to Syria in 2019 during Operation Inherent Resolve, That was my primary responsibility, bringing people off the battlefield. And I saw these people firsthand. These people are our comrades as fellow human beings, and they are the mission just as much as any military objective. To truly live the warrior ethos, we must make sure that we safeguard others with the same vigor that we use to protect our own people. The warrior ethos is the foundational perspective which drives the advance of social justice in the military. It points towards the mission, perseverance, and our fellow man. The values which undergird the warrior ethos, those values of loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, and personal courage, need social justice to act as the glue which binds them to the warrior ethos. Without social justice, the warrior ethos is undermined. A more integrated, dynamic, and representative military, bound by the struggle to advance social justice at here and abroad, can enhance military preparedness. The military has traditions which border on the sacred. Changing those traditions is scary. Loyalty to our comrades at home and abroad requires action. Duty to ourselves and those we care about requires commitment. Respect for the world in which we live means living the warrior ethos. Selfless service means that injustice for one is injustice for all. Honor means doing what is right, regardless of what others believe. Integrity means holding not only others, but yourself accountable, and personal courage. What I seek to undertake today requires each of us to overcome our fear of failure, fear of adversity, fear of the unknown. This fear of the unknown, of plunging headfirst into something which has not yet been done before, into social justice, will exemplify the next generation of leaders. As this dedication to our brothers in arms, the citizens of our nation and of the world, is what makes the military profession heroic. That heroism is defined by bravery, both physical and moral. Join me. Take upon yourselves the warrior ethos and move forward to advance social justice and transform America into what we all wish it to be. The military has been on the forefront of social justice issues in the past. This will be the next frontier.